Evening, everybody. I'm going to call the City of Prescott Planning Commission meeting to order. It's Monday, November 6th, 6 o'clock. Do roll call. Steve?
Here.
Dave? Here. Kate?
Here.
John?
Here.
Mike?
Here.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is approved Planning Commission minutes for October 2nd of 2023.
Motion to approve the October 2nd, 2023 meeting minutes.
Second.
A motion, a second to approve the October 2nd minutes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda, site plan review for 1455 North Acres Road. So you got, Coach, that's what I was going to do, Carter.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, guys. So, 1455 North Acres Road site plan review for a Dollar Tree. So the background on this property, this lot is located, lot 11 is located on the North Acres Business Park. It's currently vacant. It's addressed 1455 North Acres Road and is in the I-3 Mixed Industrial Commercial District. In the landscaping, this property or this development would fall under the L2 basic landscape for commercial development. It was required to have 1 tree per 30 linear feet along the front line and 6 shrubs per 30 linear feet along the front line. So the required landscaping for this specific site was 10 trees and 59 shrubs, and in their submitted landscaping plan it included 10 trees and 60 shrubs. The trash enclosure will be screened with a 6 to 8 foot high, 100% site obscuring fence. It's proposed to be a 61% impervious surface on the lot with our maximum allowable of 70%. For architecture, the building will be 25 feet 8 inches in height at its peak. It'll be cement board on the east, west, and south elevations and windows on the front to satisfy the architecture articulation for building frontage greater than 100 feet. The north elevation will be steel siding, and this submittal would meet our architecture standards in 635-80. A little bit more on the architecture here. You can see the front elevation on the 2 sides, and the rear that doesn't face the street is steel sided. For stormwater management, this drains into the regional stormwater pond in the west. That is lot 5 here. There was a land use permit approved for the restoration of that pond on lot 5, and that was to be completed prior to any activity on lot 11. I believe that's all complete now. Yep. And Greg Adams, our city engineer, designed that stormwater pond with the idea of development on the site. This specific site plan has less building and pavement, so the peak flow rates are slightly lower than what it was designed for, so it'll function as intended.
The city did the work for the stormwater detention pond?
No, I believe the owner of the North Acres Business Park, all the remaining lots, his name is Grant Durham. He had a company, an excavating company, do
Come
that.
and do that, okay.
Yep. For parking and traffic, our city standards require 1 stall for 300 square feet of floor area, so that would require 33 spaces. Their site plan displays 34 spaces, which includes 2 accessible parking spaces. The lot entrance requires a 76-foot curb due to the road radius. The interior of that opening is still 35 feet at the interior, but it's 76 feet at the curb. We reviewed this and we consider this acceptable for the drive entrance because of the curvature of the road.
Was there any consideration given to using the inlet to Tractor Supply that's on that east side of
like a dual access? I don't think our codes allow that, so that's why they had to put it here. And also, this was the most conducive entrance along North Acres Road for the semi-truck movements. Was that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so that's why they had to put it at this location as well. So traffic, there will be construction work on the entrance and exit as well as utility connections, so it requires a temporary road closure. There will be advanced warning signs at the Highway 29 North Acres Road intersection and then the North Acres and Canton Street intersections. Per City Engineer Greg Adams, the replacement of the pavement must be 12-inch sub-base, 8-inch base, and 4-inch asphalt, while also matching the curb style as well. For utilities, the utility plan displays 1-inch water lateral and 4-inch sanitary lateral that connects to our existing sewer and water mains off North Acres. The proposed stormwater infrastructure is shown to drain to the west into that regional detention pond we were speaking about earlier. For outdoor lighting and signage, all external lighting must meet our city ordinance code 635-56, and for signage, the developer must submit a sign permit separately from the site plan review for any new signage, and all signage must comply with our zoning code 635-63. So any questions and comments we can take? The staff recommendation was to approve the site plan for 1455 North Acres Road with the conditions as listed in the resolution. If approved, this site plan will be forwarded to the Common Council next week for their November 13th meeting. So, any questions at all?
While the approvals go, when would you start construction on that?
We plan to start construction in November if we get approval, resolution council. We want to get footings and foundations in the ground as quick as possible. We do have an early start permit from the state already on that. And then we build through the winter. We do the parking lot and so forth in the spring, and the store we look to open July, sometime in that time frame. So get the building up and do the once the
Sir, if you
process.
could come up to the podiums, we're on live TV, so the
Okay, sure.
home audience can hear you, please. If you would like to repeat what you said.
You gotta remember what I said. Our timetable would be, we're looking to start construction for footings and foundations in November. We do have an early start permit from the state that would allow us to do so, pending approval by the city. And we would build through the winter and do the parking lot and the site work in the spring, and the store would likely be open July kind of time frame.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I guess my main concern would be that we already have a Dollar Gen in town. And then now we have the trailer park, the Dollar Gen. Then we have on the left side if you're going down the hill. And then the new storage units. So now on the other side, we're gonna have a Dollar Tree and then storage units. I mean, is that something you want for our community? Just asking the question. $2 stores right across from each other?
I would say the ordinance allows it, the zoning allows it, and competition's competition. I understand your point. I don't like say the storage unit things. I'd like to say get rid of all the pole buildings on Highway 10, but our ordinance allows it right now. So it's kind of hard to restrict if they meet our ordinance.
As long as they meet all the setbacks and all that, it's.
No, I get that, but as a planning commission, are we planning, for the future of Prescott? Is that what we want Highway 10 to look like?
But if you want to do that, then you got to change your zoning. We tried to do a little of that earlier, and we didn't. So that's what Matt would tell you.
That's fair.
So I guess, yeah, I would say we've tried twice now in the last 2 years to remove storage, warehousing, and wholesaling, and both times we failed to do so. So if we want to go back and look at zoning and changing it, we can, although I guess I don't think we want to put the owners through it since we've put them through it twice and both times it's failed. So, I mean, that's separate though. What we're talking about is retail.
Right, even the zoning change, the retail, that was allowed.
And with this, retail would be allowed.
Yes.
Even if we would have changed the ordinance, we'd allow it, and retail's allowed now.
Right.
It's like,
But do we just want any, that's the thing, like, if they meet the setbacks and all that, do we just want any retail allowed anywhere? Is that what we're help me understand, because I'm so
well,
new
you
to this.
can't, at some point, you gotta be careful, you aren't capricious and judging.
I'm not judging, no.
Well, I know, but that's just it though, you can't, you can say, well, I like your retail, but I don't like your retail. Why not? Well, just because I don't like a sporting goods store, so I'd rather have, Dollar Tree or vice versa. Where's that line? How do you tell somebody that I don't want you, but I want him? And what's your reasoning? Well, I don't like your store. Or I think we got too many Patax, or I think we got too many gas stations, because, you know, at some places they got a zillion gas stations. River Falls got like 4 coffee shops showing up in the next year. It's like, obviously coffee's making money and competition is good. Either I'm gonna outdo you and you're gonna go under, or vice versa. I hate to say that, but that's kind of the way I
Free
see it.
enterprise.
Yeah, I get it.
Another facet I think about too is like, that's been a field forever, and, you know, at what point do you put something
Fill
in
it.
it? And our taxpayer.
Yep.
One thing I would mention also, that we've had this discussion before with other communities, we do a lot of this, and as you mentioned, competition-wise, the two companies do compete, and they do coexist in a lot of communities this size. The one thing that I think has proven pretty well for us as a developer of the Dollar Tree side is that the Dollar Tree is a single price point product. It used to be $1, now it's $1.25. You know, it had to go up like that. But there has been a need and a demand in communities for that single price point. It's been a very good product. However, if you can imagine in a smaller community at $1.25 price point, it's hard to justify the volume to operate that store only. So when there is a competition, you now have the Dollar Tree and you've got the Dollar General offering a product line that's a little bit different than the Dollar Tree. So that need for the Dollar Tree has still been a very viable alternative for your community members. And Dollar Tree is very adamant. They go through a lot of work. You can imagine. You know, we're looking at $1.5 million to $2 million investment in your community here. That doesn't just happen on a whim. You know, there's some pretty good background of them going through their checks and balances that the store is going to be successful in the community. So I just say that they do coexist in many communities, and they both remained successful stores.
And I know you, go ahead. I know your point. Part of it, you know, it brings employment, brings a tax base, and there probably is a need that people want to buy the, you know, $1.25, whatever they say. So.
I think I struggle with it because we've talked so much about how we want things to look and what we want things to look like, and I'm not saying Dollar Tree is a bad thing, but when we already have a Dollar Gen and now we're gonna put a Dollar Tree, that's hot, and I get free enterprise and all that. I mean, I don't know. It's not my favorite.
It's just like, we have a holiday and we have a
I
quick
know.
trip and we
I
have
know. We have all of
a
them.
marathon, so it's same deal.
Good concept.
So, any other comments or questions?
Motion to recommend approval of resolution XX-23 for the council to approve, resolution approving the site plan review for 1455 North Acres Road with the conditions listed in it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve resolution XX-23, resolution approving the site plan review for 1455 North Acres Road. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just for the record, because Kate, I think you wanted, we have this recorded, so you voted nay, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 1051 Oren Road, a resolution to approve a certified survey map combining Lot 2, CSM volume, page 155, and Outlot 1, CSM volume 14, page 37. Carter?
Sure. Yeah, I'll cover both of those in this site plan review presentation. But 1051 Oren Road site plan review for New Adventures Learning Center. Background: the project at 1051 Oren Road. This site consists of 2 lots that are proposed to be combined via the attached CSM. 1051 Oren Road is the C2 Highway Commercial District. So the CSM Lot 2, which is this one here, is proposed to be combined with Outlot 1, which is this narrow one here. We've reviewed the CSM with our city's subdivision ordinance and the Wisconsin statutes, chapter 236. The full CSM document is for review within each of your packets. Onto the site plan review, landscaping, this is also in the L2 basic landscape, so 1 tree per 30 linear feet and 6 shrubs per 30 linear feet. 6 trees and 35 shrubs were required for this site, and they submitted the landscaping plan that includes 6 trees and 35 shrubs. The trash enclosure is to be screened with a 6-foot high, 100% obscuring wooden slat fence. And the site is currently 66% impervious surface, but it will be reducing to 55% impervious surface. And our maximum allowable impervious surface is 70%. For architecture, the building is proposed to be 31 feet 8.5 inches in height. The exterior would be a cedar board and batten with cultured veneer stone wainscot on the frontage of the building. The east, west, and south elevations would be green steel siding with the stone look metal wainscot. The architectural submittal would meet our city architectural standards. Here's an additional look at the exterior renderings. This is the frontage of the building, or would be the frontage of the building, and this is the rear. And for stormwater management, this site drains into the regional stormwater pond to the south. Our city ordinance requires that the post-developed peak flow rates cannot surpass the peak flow rates for pre-developed conditions. So all recorded events produced runoff rates lower than the pre-developed conditions. Also, the 100-year high water line indicates that they do not exceed the highest levels of the proposed detention pond. And a reminder that we do not own the regional detention pond or are not responsible for maintaining it either. For parking and traffic, our city standards require 1 parking stall for every employee on duty during the largest shift, plus 1 parking stall for every 5 children in attendance when the facility is operating at maximum capacity. So really what that is the operational max divided by 5 plus the staff on shift. So they provided us with a daily operation maximum of 80 students divided by 5 plus 21 staff, so that gives us 37 spaces, and their site plan detailed a total of 38 spaces, including 1 accessible space. The proposed parking lot does have some spaces measuring 10 feet by 18 feet. Our standard for perpendicular parking is 10 feet by 19 feet, but we reviewed it with the overall site plan and find the dimensions acceptable. For the traffic diversion plan, construction on the entrances and exits will require a slight diversion, not a closure. And our engineer Greg Adams says replacement of the pavement must be 12 inches sub-base, 8-inch base, and 4-inch asphalt while matching the existing curb style. For utilities, the utility plan displays the existing storm sewer infrastructure that drains south into the regional detention pond, and there are no new sewer water lateral connections shown, so the expansion will connect to the existing sewer and water laterals on site. Outdoor lighting and signage, all external lighting must meet our city ordinance code 635-56. There is 1 parking lot light, and the city standards are noted in the plans. And for signage, the developer must submit a sign permit application separately for any new signage, and all signage must comply with our city sign zoning code 635-63. So any questions or comments? Our recommendation was 2-part, approve the certified survey map combining Lot 2 with Lot 1, and approving the site plan for 1051 Oren Road with the conditions listed in the resolution. So, any questions and comments?
My only comment, I guess, is that it'd be nice to have got the gable end to the entrance to the old building. Wouldn't that be nice to match it on the new one, and the back can be a little different, you know what I mean? So you both have a gable peak. Otherwise you got this big hat, and it's like, oh, there's a big pole shed they decided to put next to the stake here, you know, give it that, break up that little bit. It's just an architectural thing. It doesn't bother anybody else, they get that big, you know, so that in there, top right.
That's existing, right?
Existing is on the left.
Yeah.
This would all be proposed new. They're adding this one, and I believe right here is what we're talking about.
Right, I'd like to see that kind of on the new part. You know, I know it's still gonna have to go up, but just a little eyebrow to make it match, instead of just being like, oh, they got a half a building built there and they decided then they added on the other one later. You're still gonna have it stick up. but at least the face itself would have two gable ends that would match, so they'd be like two twin peaks.
Should I speak to that?
You
Yeah,
gotta
if
come
you
up
want
to the
to.
podium now. That's the only thing I like to see. It would just look better from the highway than a half a building, like a half a pole building got put up. Just a thought. I just wanna see what the commission thinks.
We're putting in $1, Jen, okay with the building.
No, it's not nice to get
Go ahead.
revenge.
Oh, thank you. I'm Emily from Land and Resource Consulting. We did the civil and landscape plans for this. There is a pretty specific reason for that, which is they have issues right now with snow shedding into their inner courtyard of the building. So that's specifically designed to shed the snow away from that inner courtyard. And then there's also storage space in like the top of the peak. And that's really what guided that design decision.
And I'm not saying that the whole building has to be that way. I'm just saying from the front, it'd be nice to have that little, even if it's just on the face of the building, kind of give it that same
Oh,
look.
Sure.
You know, I know that the back is, but it just give you that look of, okay, they're the front of the building, and then, yeah, you can see something that's behind it. But it would
Sure.
just, you know, again, I don't know if anyone understands it, it's just like, here's this half building, it drops off. And I know there's a gymnasium, so you need the height, but
Yeah.
just even on the face of it, if it just gave it that little bit of a, and that's just my opinion, I don't know if the commission have anything else. It's just an aesthetic thing. Of course, there again, it's a all pole building, which we didn't outlaw, so they can pole build the whole, pretty much the whole thing other than the facade, I think, and that would be the facade that we could somewhat say we want that eyebrow look on that side to match the other
So you're
side.
just saying like another
Peak down.
Right, yep.
peak right?
And maybe not that high, maybe it's the
Just
same.
on the front.
Maybe it's the same height as that other one, you know, and then behind it, yeah, you can see their building, but just so it has that same brow, and maybe you break up the siding so they don't look the same, so.
It might interfere with those windows though on the front.
Well, but that's, yeah, they might lose the window, I don't know what the windows are for other than daylight, we all like our daylight. But I was just saying, you take, and you just do a peak
Yeah.
here to kind of match that one on this
interfere with
building.
this top one.
And it would just be on the face.
But
Yeah,
then-
they might lose a window, maybe they move too up or whatever.
But you'd still have that high corner there.
I know that, but I'm just saying, it would give it like at least that you can
It'd
see
probably
that.
look less clunky.
Right, it just doesn't look as boxy. And then maybe the upper siding could be a different color to break up. Okay, the two front entrances look the same, and then up above it's a little different color. That's just a thought. I mean, if nobody else has a big issue with it, it's not a make or break. It's not gonna say, well, I'm not gonna sleep nights. I mean, I just throw it out there for an idea to make it a little bit more appealing as you're driving down the highway. You know, if we can't keep pole buildings, at least we can give it a little trouble. She's
I don't know,
childish. She's being childish.
I don't have any problem.
I'm not being child. I don't have a problem with it. I think we have a big need for daycare, more
Oh, I know,
daycare
no.
space, and so, I mean, I think it's a good plan.
See, and I'm just talking a 1 foot little roof line, we'll take that right on the face.
I think it's a good thought. I'm not
You don't carry the one way or the other
I'm not
either.
too concerned about it either way. I mean, if
That's fine.
the owner thinks that's a good idea, I mean,
Well, it's yeah, tell them.
It's
that
a suggestion. It's a suggestion,
Might look
maybe.
more appealing, but they'll throw their windows off. and
but
stuff.
again, then we're getting down to one person prefers that look and the other person prefers another look. So
But that's where the commission as a whole, if we have
Yeah.
architectural design on the front of the building, like we did to the old Churchill, we said, no, they gotta have that
Yeah.
wood look so it matches. It's not, well, you're gonna have tin here and this here. We want it to match. That was kind of what we have. That's a little bit of
Well, that'll
options
ma-
we have to do is all.
It'll
That's all I
match
was
the existing, or are you redoing the exterior of the existing?
It should.
Yeah,
please.
thank you. Oh, she's quick.
Not to get technical about architecture or construction or anything, but we want it to look nice too. I mean, we want to be appealing. So the whole front of the building is going to be redone and it will match. And then we'll probably try to color match it with what is currently there just for aesthetic purposes. I kind of see what he's saying about that. I don't know that I necessarily agree. I kind of like the look of that, but again, it's just personal preference.
Anybody else have comment, questions?
Motion to approve resolution X23, which they'll number it later at the council level. A resolution approving a certified survey map combining two lots, CSM volume 11, page 155, all lot 1, CSM volume 14, page 37.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to approve resolution LX 23, resolution to approve the certified survey map combining Lot 2, CSM volume page 11, volume 11, page 155, and Outlot 1, CSM volume 14, page 37. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the site plan review for 1055 Oregon Road. I believe we've,
Which has been presented. So I'd approve resolution, well, they're gonna number for 23, resolution approving the site plan review for 1051 Oren Road.
10:55.
No, 1051. Oh. This is a different site. Last page of your packet. With all the conditions in place. As far as that's concerned.
This is 14.
Second.
okay, we have a motion, a second to approve resolution approving the site plan review for 1051 Oregon Road. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, next item on the agenda is other business. Next meeting, Monday, December 4th. Currently don't have anything coming, so
So most likely we won't have the meeting, but we'll wait to see if anything comes up in the next week or so.
Can I ask at our next meeting, or do I need to, I forget, do I need to email you on that? Whatever happened with that thing down, Greg, John, and Larry's condos downtown?
St. Clair Liquors.
Yeah,
The condominium proposal.
yeah.
So we've been going back and forth with them for a while. The major issue became with review from the fire department. When we sat down to talk with them and we wanted to take the next step, there were some concerns about how we would handle getting fire trucks in there if there was a fire truck on a 4-story proposed condominium building. So ultimately, our position has been the development can't remove any parking, and the fire department essentially said if you're going to put a condominium there, the one side of Orange Street has to become a fire lane and all the parking has to be removed. So the current back and forth has been how do we resolve that issue in terms of where do we replace those parking spots if we do remove parking on Orange Street. So the one idea so far has been, well, what if you take the first floor and make it like a half commercial and half public parking? So you'd still have the parking below the first floor for the condominiums on floors 2 through 4, but then the first floor would be public parking for those going downtown. So that was the last discussion. However, I don't know if the developers, Greg John and Larry Johnson's, are still moving forward. They were still discussing with their engineers and architects if that's something they wanted to entertain or if they were gonna and
Do that.
ultimately not move forward.
So just a follow-up question. So if the fire marshal or fire department says that is that like a code thing, or is that like a state thing that they can't do that, or is that just his opinion, like an opinion?
No, I'm pretty sure it's state code.
State code.
More than likely, they gotta have 3 sides, so they can get a truck in there, because it's 4-story. I think, I know they asked me too, and I said, are you sure? You know, I think they even check at the state level with the state fire marshal. My thought though, it just dawned on me and it jumped in my head is, maybe they find a house that's close to downtown or an empty lot, buy it and say, we'll put 4 spots up there if we can take these out. Costs them a little more money, but that's an option. Okay, I gotta take these 4 out. What if we buy the old Century Tel building or whatever up on Orange Street, and we'll tear that down and we'll put 6 parking stalls there. That's kind of how, you're trying to trade a spot. Well, they don't have to be right there. They could be half a block the other direction. You're still not eliminating downtown parking, you're adding to it.
So they are responsible for replacing those 4 spots is basically what we're saying?
Well, yeah, what is, we gave up so many when we kind of did the riverfront anyway. And this, we don't want to lose any more than necessary, I think is the point. We did that for a reason, so. Maybe they put money, maybe they buy the parking slot, say, here's city, here's money to go eventually buy somewhere to put another parking lot. And what's the cost for a parking stall? I mean, that's something, and, I don't know if we're planning on doing the rest of the parking up behind Well, at the old Freedom Station, I forget what's called, the Holiday. Maybe they say, hey, we'll pay to get that paved up there. The city lets us take 3 spots out or something. And that's a thought. You know, if you're looking right there, it's not, you're not gonna find it right there, there's just no space, but what if we just do it up the hill just a little ways? We're still providing Main Street parking.
So would that be a viable solution if they provided a couple, 4 more spots or something, even not in front of Orange Street? Has that been discussed?
The total is 10 spots.
10?
So there again, you know, they go up and maybe they buy that printing joint up behind, you know,
Well, that's a good printing
the tap, but, well, I know, but there's that lot behind it even. Maybe they say, hey, I'll buy that pole building and then we can put parking up there. That's just something like that. I don't care where it is, but somewhere close to Main Street, that's how they'd have to do it, is replace what they need to take out to meet the requirements of the fire department. That's a solution. You know, instead of going underground and digging up more, maybe just buy an empty spot close to downtown and say, here's your parking.
It'd be nice to have the 2 commercial spaces too versus sacrificing 1 for parking because, you know, that's 2 businesses that could be there.
But that would be their concern. They have to think about themselves, and so that's why I think they provide some of the underground would be for their business. But we still need just for the rest of the Main Street. So that's an option I see as we were talking here. All of a sudden jumped out. They'd think about buying somewhere else.
And has that been talked about with that, like?
We have not discussed the opportunity of paying for parking elsewhere. At this point, the additional parking has been something that was planned, I think, for a while. So if that's something, you know, we want to, there is also additional reasons. The parking is the main aspect, but another thing the fire department wants is basically, I don't know if you call it a breezeway or thoroughfare. So if they have to, the biggest problem with this proposed site is the fact that there's no access off Broad Street unless you go over a building. Front Street is too narrow to actually park a truck. So unlike the condominiums that are further down the river, that has a wide, that was designed to have 360-degree access for a fire truck, this spot doesn't have those same parameters. So there are additional things the fire department, when they're reviewing the site, looked at in terms of making sure there's extra width. So if there is a fire and there's potential collapse, people aren't stuck on the backside of the building. So the parking is the main thing, but the additional option was trying to get the width necessary, so if there's fires, they can access the building on multiple sides. So the parking open area was an option just because it would create a thoroughfare, create an open area where they can go underneath and get to the other side, and if there's an issue, they can go back underneath it and get out. So it's a tricky site for sure.
It is tricky. It would be nice to.
Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion, second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.
Radio shoot you.